In this video, we're going to go over whole number operations. Now, something to keep in mind is an operation is a mathematical process, and the most common operations that we use in math are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. There are a lot more operations, but those are just the ones that we use the most often. In this video, we're going to specifically focus on multiplication. Let's start with this first example, 1,563 times 2. Now, you can multiply the numbers when they're written side by side, but I actually prefer to rewrite these numbers so that they are in columns. So one number on top, one number on the bottom. I'm going to write 1,563 times 2. Now, when you're multiplying numbers, what you want to make sure is that you're multiplying every number from one number, every digit from one number to every digit in the other number. And if you notice here, we're multiplying a number that's in the thousands to a number that's just a single digit, that just has a digit in the ones place. So I'm going to start by multiplying 3 times 2. And if you notice that 3 is also in the ones place. So when I figure out what 3 times 2 is, I'm going to write my solution in the ones place. So 3 times 2 gives me 6, and I'm going to write 6 in the ones place. Now I'm going to move over, and I'm going to multiply 6 times 2. Now in this case, I'm multiplying a number that's in the tens place to 2. So this is like saying I'm multiplying 60 times 2. And because that number's in the tens place, when I write my answer, I'm going to also write that answer in the tens place. So 6 times 2 gives me 12. Now let's hold on a second and think back to addition. 6 times 2 equals 12. But we can only write one digit. And what we're going to do is we're going to write the 2 because 12 is the same thing as saying 10 plus 2. So we're going to write the 2 in that tens place, and we're going to carry the 10, which means I'm just going to put a 1 right there. Now I'm going to move over to the 5, and the 5 is in the hundredths place. So I'm going to say 5 times 2, which is 10. I'm going to make sure I'm adding that 1, which is 11, and again, I can only put one digit. So I'm going to put the 1 there, and I'm going to carry that other 1. Finally, I'm going to multiply 1 times 2, and because that 1 is in the thousands place, I'm going to put my solution in the thousands place. 1 times 2 gives me 2, and then don't forget I have to add that 1. So that's 3. And that is how you multiply numbers. You're just going from one digit, multiplying it to that digit in the next number, and you're going to make sure that you get this with every single digit. Let's move on to another example. Let's take a look at this one. Here we have a couple of more numbers that are involved in our multiplication. So we have 264 times 32. Now in the last example, we only had one digit in the second number. In this example, we have 2 digits in the second number. So I'm going to just quickly show you what happens here, why we're multiplying every digit to every number. 264 times 32 is really the same thing as saying 264 times 2 plus 264 times 30. All I did was I took this 32 and I broke it down into 2 and 30. 2 plus 30, which is 32. So when I multiply these numbers, just like in the last example, I'm going to start with the numbers that are in the ones place. So I'm going to multiply 4 times 2, which gives me 8. And I'm going to keep it in the ones place. So right here, I'm going to write all of my solutions to the numbers that are multiplying to the 2. Now I need to move over to the 6. 6 times 2. Notice how I'm still sticking with the 2. 6 times 2 gives me 12. I'm going to write the 2 down in my tens place and carry that 1. Now I'm going to go to that last digit, which is 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 plus that 1 gives me 5. But I'm not done yet, because remember, I still have that 3 to take care of, right? I still have the 30. I can't forget about that. That's a part of the number. So now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to start multiplying all of the numbers in 264 to the number 3, or the number 30. Now, something to keep in mind is this. Because this 3 that we're working with is in the tens place, we need to start writing our answer in the tens place, which means that I'm going to put a 0 as a placeholder right underneath the 8. Just think that that 0 is replacing the 2. And now I'm going to start my multiplication. So I'm going to first multiply 4 times 3, which gives me 12. And again, I can only write one digit, so I'm going to write the 2 and carry the 1. Now I'm going to multiply 6 times 3, which is 18. And 18 plus 1 is 19, so I'm going to write the 9 and carry the 1. And then finally, I'm going to multiply 2 times 3, which is 6. And 6 plus 1 is 7. Now, if you think back to over here, when I expanded it, I added those two together. So when I get down here, and I should have written this, I'm going to just quickly write this. These are all the numbers that I got when I multiplied it to 30. So when I get down here, what do I want to do with these two sets of numbers? Well, I want to add them because they're coming from these numbers. So I'm going to add all of these numbers together. 8 plus 0 gives me 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. 9 plus 5 is 14, so I'm going to bring down the 1, or the 4, I'm sorry, and carry the 1. And then you have no number up here, so I'm going to just do 7 plus 1, which gives me 8. So my final answer for this one is 8,448. And that's all there is to it. If you were a little bit confused on where all these numbers were coming from, I would recommend that you go and check out, if you haven't already, my video that is on the basics of whole numbers. It helps you to really visualize these numbers and how to really break them down a little bit more, which is going to ultimately help you to understand how we're multiplying, why we're multiplying the way that we're multiplying. Remember, you want to understand the way we're doing this, not just memorize the process.